Tony, very good morning to you.
Morning, Mike. How are you?
Yeah, very well indeed. I'm reluctant to have a go here at the police. A lot of people were like, how can the police have managed to kill somebody? But, I mean, obviously in something as fast-moving as that, the police are seeing this guy trying to break into a mosque. He's got a knife. He's trying to get through a door. What's the likely situation here? I mean, could they have shot him and could the bullet have gone through him and then through the door? Is that possible?
Well, there's basically two options, isn't there? Either they fired and missed, and, you know, actual human beings are quite mobile. They'd have had to go for a headshot. If they'd seen the explosive vest, they would have been looking to take a critical shot to the brainstem.
Right.
The head is a small movable target. It's quite possible that they missed. The other thing, as you quite rightly said, is that they might have fired and the round has over-penetrated and struck the member of the congregation on the other side of the door.
Yeah, we're just watching the scene outside the synagogue here, and unusually it was all kind of captured on film, as a lot of these things obviously are nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the velocity of the bullet that they're using would have the capability of going through all of that, right?
Well, the problem is we used to use 9mm, which is essentially a handgun round, and without getting overly complicated, that travels about 800 foot per second. But because of Paris, because of all of the other terrorist attacks around the country, they still carry a 9mm pistol, but the carbine they carry is universally, and designated across the country, is in 5.56mm, which is a much faster round. It travels about 2,500 foot per second or more, but it's very flat, and it means that they can engage a suicide bomber outside of the blast area of the bomb. So they could have taken a critical shot at his head at 50 odd meters. I doubt that's very much the case in this instance,
right.
But because of the extra velocity, there is always a danger of penetration.
Yes. And so because of the speed, as you say, that could, the door presumably was not, I mean, thankfully they were able to barricade the door, but the door may not have been particularly thick, and so therefore the bullet could quite easily have gone through it.
Can I tell a very quick story
here?
And it actually explains what I'm talking about here. Just after this happened, I got loads of phone calls saying, could you speak on the radio programs? And colleagues are saying, have you seen what's happened in Manchester? And I got online and I saw the footage that we're seeing now, only I saw the unedited version, which was far more unpleasant to watch. And of course, all you see in that footage is, for want of a better word, the coup de grace, because the man that was down starts to get up again.
Right.
And so we don't see the initial shots.
Right.
But then a journalist sent me a picture, which everyone will probably seen now, of the suspect standing at the front of the building, where you can quite clearly see a suicide vest. And the question I was asked was, does it look to you like he's wearing body armor? So I looked very, very closely at the photograph, and I saw that he appeared to have a suicide vest. I couldn't see any trace of body armor. I looked at his head, and I simply text back, I don't think he's got body armor on. It wasn't until 2 days later that I looked at that photograph again, knowing what we all know now, and saw that the faces, it's quite haunting faces of the congregation at those tiny windows right next to the suspect.
Right.
Now, I'd looked at that picture with a cup of coffee in my hand, sitting on a sofa, at my leisure. No adrenaline flowing. I hadn't just driven through heavy traffic. But the reality is that while police officers need to be aware of their backdrop, if you're focusing on somebody who you think is about to detonate at any moment, you probably won't pick up tiny nuances. I hadn't seen it, and I put this online, and people have come back and go, "Oh my God! Now that you mention it, I can see their faces."
Yeah.
So it's being out there on the day is very, very different to looking at it, as we do now.
Also, what you can see is not necessarily what they can see, because obviously they're further away. They're not
Absolutely.
looking at.
And of course, if you think someone's about to detonate imminently, you don't have the option to change the angle. You couldn't move 10 meters to the right and take the shot. Even if you thought there was people behind, you have to take it imminently, immediately. Otherwise, he's going to detonate and kill everyone.
Yeah. And what will happen now to the individual who would have made that shot?
Well, obviously, my thoughts, are with the Jewish community and with the family. But obviously, because of my background, my thoughts are also, with the officers, because I've been in that position. Thankfully, not the position they're in, but I have had to take life. And I hope upon hope that the IOPC actually accept the fact that, you know, these people, these officers, were extremely brave. You know, they ran towards what they thought was a suicide bomber, did what they thought was the right thing. Tragedy ensued, but you know, really the only person to blame for this is the
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I absolutely wanted to make that very clear. I don't want to come on this program and pretend that, you know, there's you know, it's the fault of the police. You know, he was there. If it wasn't for him being there, this wouldn't have happened. And so plainly and simply, he's the one to blame. Absolutely right. Tony, listen, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed for clearing that up for us. Former Metropolitan Police firearms officer, giving us a bit of context as to what it's like for these police officers firing into what can often be a very hostile environment where a guy's about to blow himself up and they have really no choice but to take the shot. And it's not always easy to guarantee what happens after that. So while, yes, of course, it's an awful tragedy for the family, I think it's rough to blame the police for what is obviously something that they have to do in order to neutralise somebody that they saw as an incredible danger. And that was that man, Jihadi. Let's get a voice note from Stuart on Gary Neville.
Hi, Mike. Stuart from Wigan. Spoke Gary Neville. I mean, I'm a United fan. I've never liked him. He's always been arrogant. He's always been and I'll finish there, but at the end of the day, he's picked his side. Well, it's all right, because you pick the wrong side, cop, and sooner or later you're going to find that out, and it will be sooner.
Yeah. I think so, Stuart. Thanks very much indeed. This from David. The arrest at pro-Palestinian hate marches is just gaslighting. How many arrested people actually face any charges, let alone jail time? Most are just given a warning and let go. Yeah, but it is very, very disruptive to the police's general day-to-day operations, because they still have to go through the motions of charging them and then bringing them back after releasing them on bail and either cautioning them or putting them through a court process of some kind or another. Absolutely right. Dave from Hampshire asks a good question. He says, morning, Mike. Regarding Gary Neville's comments, does that make him racist, sexist and ageist? I find his comments offensive being in that group. There would be uproar if it was another ethnic group that he spoke about. Yeah, imagine if he came out and said, you know, here's the thing. The problem in this country is all caused by young, brown men as opposed to white, old men. Why would that be somehow any different? I don't think it would be. Angry white men. What about angry brown men? What's the difference? Why is he not being done? It's a good question.